Why is it that two people can start at the same place in life, same education, same job, same work ethic, and yet one ends up with wealth and freedom, while the other remains stuck in financial struggle? It's a question that haunts many of us. We often assume that the difference lies in luck, connections, or even intelligence. But the real answer is far more powerful and far more within your control. The truth is, your bank account is a direct reflection of your mindset. Change your mindset, and you will change your financial destiny. Your mind is not just a tool for survival, it's the engine of your entire reality. The beliefs you carry about money, success, self-worth, and possibility form the foundation of the life you live. If that foundation is cracked by fear, guilt, or scarcity, no amount of hard work will bring lasting wealth. You'll keep working harder, spinning in circles, wondering why nothing seems to stick. From the time we are children, our minds are shaped by the voices around us: parents, teachers, culture, religion, media. We absorb thousands of little statements and moments that quietly teach us what to believe about money. Maybe you heard, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "Rich people are selfish," or "We can't afford that." Maybe you saw your parents arguing about bills, or watched your family avoid discussions about finances altogether. These experiences, though subtle, leave deep imprints. They create a mental script that keeps playing in your subconscious long after you've grown up. And without realizing it, you begin to act according to that script. You might dream of financial success, but you hesitate to take bold steps. You self-sabotage. You stay stuck in underpaying jobs. You feel guilt when you earn more. You chase money with desperation, or push it away with fear. And all the while, your subconscious beliefs are silently pulling the strings. What makes this even more powerful and dangerous is that your brain is wired to prove your beliefs right. Through a system in your brain called the reticular activating system, your mind filters reality based on what it already believes to be true. So, if deep down, you believe money is hard to get, or that wealth is not for people like you, your brain will actively ignore or dismiss opportunities that contradict that belief. You won't see them, or you'll find excuses to walk away. Even when a golden door opens, you'll question if you're ready, if it's real, or if you deserve it. You'll talk yourself out of what was meant for you. On the flip side, if you train your mind to believe that wealth is abundant, that opportunities are everywhere, and that you are worthy of financial success suddenly, your brain starts to align with that vision. It notices new paths. It takes smarter risks. It builds momentum. And just like that, your outer world begins to shift. The most sobering truth is this: you don't get what you want. You get what you expect. Wanting success is not enough. If you expect failure, if you expect struggle, if you expect scarcity, your actions will follow those expectations. You'll move with fear, hesitation, and doubt, and the world will reflect that energy right back to you. But when you raise your expectations, when you believe, without apology, that you are meant for more, your whole identity changes. You start showing up differently. You speak with more conviction. You make decisions from a place of power, and you begin to build a life that mirrors your belief. This is not wishful thinking or empty positive vibes. This is neuroscience. This is psychology. This is about becoming the kind of person whose life naturally attracts the wealth they desire. Wealthy people don't just have more money, they think differently. They operate from a completely different mental framework. Where others see obstacles, they see options. Where others panic, they plan. Where others spend emotionally, they invest intentionally. This isn't because they're lucky or born with some special gene. It's because they've trained their minds to focus on growth, value, and long-term gain. They know that wealth begins inside the mind, not in the wallet. They guard their thoughts like treasure. They surround themselves with empowering voices. They build habits that align with abundance, not scarcity. And over time, these habits compound just like interest in a savings account. Their mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Many people misunderstand what it means to rewire your brain for wealth. They think it's some kind of magical thinking, or that it means sitting around waiting for money to appear. But this process is not about fantasizing, it's about alignment. When your beliefs, your thoughts, and your actions are in harmony with the financial outcomes you desire, you begin to act in ways that create those outcomes. You stop chasing money with desperation and start attracting it through value. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. You stop doubting yourself and start betting on yourself. This alignment creates momentum, and momentum creates results. If your current financial life feels frustrating, stagnant, or overwhelming, don't just look at your paycheck, look at your patterns. Look at the stories you're telling yourself. Look at the mental ceiling you've unconsciously placed above your head. Because here's what no one teaches us in school. We all have a financial thermostat inside our minds. Some people are set at 10K a year, some at 100K, some at 1 million. And regardless of what happens externally, you will always return to the level of income, wealth, and success that your brain feels safe having. That's why so many people win the lottery and go broke. Their external world changed, but their mindset didn't. The thermostat pulled them back down. And that's why others can lose everything and rebuild bigger than before, because their thermostat was set high and they refused to stay down. So how do you raise your thermostat? How do you rewire your brain to expect, create, and sustain wealth? It begins with awareness. You have to shine a light on the thoughts you've been repeating for years. Start asking yourself the hard questions. What do I really believe about money? What emotions come up when I think about being rich? Do I feel worthy of success? Do I resent people who have what I want? These questions aren't easy, but they're necessary. Because once you expose the limiting beliefs, you can begin to challenge and replace them. Rewiring your brain is not a one-time event. It's a daily discipline. Just like building muscle or learning a new language, your brain needs repetition to create new pathways. You must flood your mind with empowering beliefs. Use affirmations. Read books. Watch content that expands your thinking. Spend time with people who are financially empowered. Take consistent actions that align with the mindset you're building. Open a savings account. Start that business idea. Invest a small amount. Say no to unnecessary spending. Every small step sends a message to your brain. I am becoming someone who manages wealth. And that identity shift is the true victory. Your bank account is not just numbers, it's a mirror. It reflects how you think, how you feel, and how you lead yourself. If you want more in that account, you must become more inside your mind. You must become someone who not only desires wealth, but is mentally and emotionally prepared to receive it, manage it, and grow it. And that transformation doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. It happens by making your inner world a priority, even when the outer world feels chaotic. There will be moments of doubt, moments when the old beliefs scream louder, moments when fear tells you to stay where you are. But remember this, fear is just a memory of past pain trying to protect you. It's not the truth. The truth is that you are capable of change. Your brain is plastic literally. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself through new thoughts, experiences, and behaviors. This means that no matter how long you've carried limiting beliefs, no matter how deep the programming goes, you can rewire it. You can create new mental grooves that lead to success, confidence, and financial peace. There is no financial guru, no course, no business strategy more powerful than a mind that believes in its own worth. When you master your mindset, everything else becomes easier. You make better choices. You attract better opportunities. You handle challenges with strength instead of panic. You stop settling. You stop shrinking. You begin to build a life that not only looks successful but feels deeply fulfilling. The greatest investment you will ever make is not in a stock or a property, it's in your own thinking. Because your thinking becomes your choices become your habits, and your habits create your future. If you want to change your bank account, start by changing the thoughts you repeat every day. Start by believing, truly believing that wealth is not just possible for others, but possible for you. Not one day, not when you've earned it, but now, because once your brain accepts the new belief, your life begins to follow. In the end, the secret is simple. Your mindset is your bank account. Change one, and you will inevitably change the other. The world you're living in tomorrow depends on the thoughts you choose to entertain today. So choose power, choose belief, choose wealth, and then build iTone rewired thought at a time. Most people think that wealth is built through effort, alone, long hours, side hustles, saving every penny, and climbing corporate ladders. But while effort plays a role, it's not the whole picture. In fact, the real secret behind consistent, lasting wealth lies deeper in the part of your mind that runs 95% of your daily life without you even realizing it. This part of your brain is called the subconscious, and it's the quiet architect of your financial future. While you're awake, working, stressing, and trying to figure it all out, Your subconscious is quietly guiding your beliefs, your behavior, and most importantly, your financial decisions. It's not your conscious goals that build wealth, it's your subconscious patterns. Until you align the two, success will always feel like a battle between what you want and what you secretly fear or expect. The subconscious mind is like the autopilot of your life. It stores everything: your emotional memories, past traumas, learned beliefs, and default reactions. The problem is, most of those patterns were formed early in life, when your brain was still absorbing everything without question. If you experienced financial instability as a child, heard constant negative messages about money, or witnessed struggle and scarcity in your environment, your subconscious formed a belief system based on those experiences. It's no longer a conscious thought, it's a feeling, a lens through which you see the world. And until that programming is changed, it will override even your most ambitious goals. Think about this. How many times have you said you wanted to save money, start a business, or increase your income only to find yourself procrastinating, making impulsive purchases, or sabotaging your progress? That's not laziness. That's not lack of motivation. That's your subconscious protecting you from what it believes is unsafe or unfamiliar. To the subconscious mind, unfamiliar equals danger. And if wealth, confidence, or financial freedom were never part of your emotional blueprint growing up, your subconscious will resist them at all costs. 7. If you consciously desire them with every fiber of your being. It's not about willpower. It's about alignment. So how do you bridge the gap between conscious desire and subconscious resistance? First, you have to become aware. Most people never question the thoughts they think. They believe their feelings are facts. But when you begin to observe your internal dialogue, you start to see the hidden patterns. Every time you feel uncomfortable around money, every time you judge someone for being rich, every time you shrink from opportunity or undercharge for your work, that's a signal. That's your subconscious script playing out in real time. And until you rewrite that script, you'll keep ending up at the same financial destination, no matter how far you try to run. Reprogramming the subconscious doesn't happen overnight. It requires deliberate, consistent effort. But the good news is, your brain is incredibly adaptable. Through a process called neuroplasticity, your brain forms new connections and beliefs based on what you repeatedly think, feel, and experience. That means you can literally train your brain to believe new truths about money, abundance, and success. One of the most effective ways to do this is through repetition and emotional intensity. Your subconscious learns through emotion. That's why the most powerful beliefs are tied to deep feelings, whether it's shame, fear, pride, or joy. So when you visualize yourself living in abundance, when you speak empowering affirmations with emotion, when you act with confidence even before you feel ready, you're sending powerful signals to your subconscious that things are changing. Another key factor in subconscious reprogramming is identity. You will never rise above the identity you hold in your mind. If you still see yourself as someone who struggles, someone who isn't good with money, someone who always messes things up, you will continue to act in ways that reinforce that identity. But when you shift your identity, when you begin to see yourself as someone who creates wealth, who makes wise financial decisions, who deserves success, your actions begin to change to match. You make different choices. You take bigger risks. You surround yourself with different people. You stop settling. The subconscious mind doesn't care whether your identity is empowering or destructive. It simply works to maintain what it believes to be true. That's why changing your self-image is the most powerful wealth-building decision you can make. This shift can feel uncomfortable at first. You'll have moments of doubt, fear, and even resistance from others. But remember, growth always begins in the mind before it appears in reality. The more you expose yourself to wealth through books, mentors, conversations, experiences, the more normal it becomes to your subconscious. What once felt impossible now feels inevitable. What once triggered fear now feels like opportunity. And that's when the real shift happens. You're no longer forcing success, you're flowing with it. Because your inner world has been upgraded, and your outer world is simply catching up. One of the biggest myths about wealth is that it's only available to certain people. That you need to be born into it, or lucky, or chosen. But the truth is, wealth is a frequency, and your mind is the antenna. If your subconscious is tuned to fear, guilt, or unworthiness, you'll block that frequency. But when you tune your mind to belief, confidence, and value, you start attracting the very opportunities you once thought were out of reach. This isn't magic, it's alignment. The energy you carry influences the people you meet, the risks you take, and the doors that open. But you must do the work. You must be willing to face the uncomfortable truths about your current mindset. You must ask yourself where your financial beliefs came from and whether they're still serving you. You must be willing to release old story 7 if they've been with you for decades. The story that says you're not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not lucky enough. These stories are not facts, they are choices. And the moment you choose a new story, everything begins to shift. Of course, reprogramming the subconscious is not just about thinking new thoughts, it's about embodying them. You must live as if your new beliefs are already true. If you believe you are a person who attracts wealth, how would you show up today? How would you speak, dress, carry yourself? How would you treat your time, your health, your relationships? Wealth is not a goal, it's a lifestyle. And that lifestyle begins in the mind, long before it shows up in the mirror. Practical tools like journaling, meditation, visualization, and subconscious audio reprogramming can be incredibly effective. But the most powerful tool is consistency. Your subconscious doesn't care about your big dreams. It cares about what you repeatedly expose it to. So if you want to shift your financial blueprint, you must make the new pattern stronger than the old one. Every single day, you must feed your mind with thoughts that serve your future, not your past. You will face resistance. The old programming will try to pull you back. You might even experience setbacks or external challenges as you try to shift. But those aren't signs of failure, they're signs of growth. Just like a computer slows down while installing a major update, your life might feel chaotic as your subconscious adjusts to your new beliefs. But stay with it. Keep showing up. Keep acting in alignment with the future you've chosen. Because eventually, your new mindset becomes your default. And once that happens, wealth becomes inevitable. In this journey, you must also be mindful of your environment. Your subconscious is shaped not only by your thoughts, but by the people and energy around you. If you spend time with people who complain about money, fear success, or normalize struggle, your subconscious will absorb that energy. But when you surround yourself with people who speak possibility, who take action, who embody wealth, you begin to reprogram by proximity. Your standards rise, your habits shift, and your subconscious begins to reflect a new level of truth. The beauty of this work is that once your subconscious is rewired, you no longer have to fight for every result. You move from force to flow. You stop operating from desperation and start creating from intention. You no longer just hope things will get better, you expect them to. And that expectation becomes your reality. Because your brain is no longer running an old script. It's running a new one that was written by the most powerful version of you. This is why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly. It's not luck. It's subconscious alignment. Their beliefs, identity, and energy are fully in sync with their vision. They don't question their worth. They don't self-sabotage. They simply take aligned action, trust the process, and allow success to unfold. And the best part? You can do the same. Your subconscious is not fixed. It is not your fate. It is a living, breathing system that responds to your choices. So if you don't like the financial story it's telling, change the story. Speak new words. Feel new emotions. Take new actions. With enough repetition, your subconscious will begin to believe, and when it believes, it will build. It will work for you instead of against you. It will guide you toward the wealth you once thought was out of reach. The wealth you seek is not just out there, it's inside you. It starts with a shift in awareness. A decision to rewrite the internal code that has kept you small. You don't need more hustle, you need more alignment. And alignment begins in the subconscious mind. When you master that, you master your future. Because once your subconscious believes in your wealth, the rest of your life will rise to meet it. What if I told you that your income will never exceed your identity? That the version of yourself you subconsciously believe you are is quietly setting a ceiling on how much you allow yourself to earn, keep, or grow? This isn't about external strategies or financial tactics, this is about identity. The truth is, your relationship with wealth is a mirror of who you believe yourself to be. If deep down you see yourself as average, as someone who always struggles, someone who's not made for wealth, you'll continue to unconsciously reject every opportunity that threatens to challenge that identity. You won't even notice it happening. It's subtle, invisible, but it is the most powerful force in shaping your financial reality. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. The wealthy don't just have money, they have a way of thinking, acting, and responding to life that's different from those who constantly stay stuck in cycles of scarcity. It's not about being better, it's about being different. Different values, different priorities, Different self-concept. Wealthy people don't obsess over saving a few dollars on coffee. They think in terms of expansion, not contraction. They invest in their growth. They protect their time. They build systems that pay them long after they've clocked out. Why? Because their identity tells them that their time is valuable, that their ideas have worth, that their future is worth betting on. It's not ego, it's alignment. They've built a mental blueprint that supports abundance, and then they live according to it. So how do you begin to build that kind of identity? The first step is radical self-awareness. You must examine the thoughts that run through your mind on autopilot. When you see someone driving a luxury car, what's your first reaction? Do you think, wow, I want that too? Or does a quiet voice whisper, must be nice, I'll never have that? When a friend starts a business, do you feel inspired or slightly bitter, slightly threatened? These emotional reflexes are identity indicators. They're clues about how you truly see yourself and what you believe is available to you. And until you confront them, you will never rise above them. Identity isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Brick by brick. Thought by thought. Action by action. It starts with questioning your current labels. Maybe you've told yourself you're just bad with money, not disciplined enough, not lucky, or not the entrepreneurial type. But where did those beliefs come from? Were they yours, or did someone give them to you? A teacher, a parent, a past failure, a single moment in time that somehow became your permanent label? It's time to break those mental chains, because the person you are now doesn't have to be the person you remain. You get to redesign who you are, and once you do, your bank account will start to reflect it. To develop a wealth-oriented identity, you must immerse yourself in the world of those who live it. Read what the wealthy read, watch how they think, study their language, join the rooms they gather in. Not to copy them, but to recondition your mind. Your environment is a mirror. When you surround yourself with people who normalize success, abundance, and ambition, your subconscious starts to shift. What once felt like a dream starts to feel like a standard. That's how expansion works, not through force, but through exposure. And while you do this, you must start acting like the version of you who already has the wealth you seek. That means making decisions from a place of vision, not fear. It means asking yourself, what would the wealthy version of me do in this moment? Would they panic over a small setback or strategize their way forward? Would they hide their value or charge what they're worth? Would they keep shrinking to keep others comfortable or own their voice unapologetically? Every time you choose the higher version, you reinforce that identity. And the stronger the identity becomes, the faster your results begin to change. One of the key differences between the wealthy and everyone else is how they see problems. Where most people see obstacles, the wealthy see opportunities to create value. They know that money flows where value is delivered. So instead of asking, how can I make more money? They ask, how can I solve bigger problems? This mindset doesn't come from some magic genie, it comes from conditioning, from a lifetime of leaning into challenges instead of running from them. And you can develop the same identity by training yourself to see the world through that lens. Every complaint you hear, that's a business waiting to be built. Every inefficiency, a system waiting to be created. Every struggle you've overcome, a lesson you can monetize. When you start thinking like this, you're no longer playing defense with your life, you're playing offense. It's also important to understand that identity is reinforced by habits. The things you do daily are casting votes for the person you believe yourself to be. If you wake up late, scroll endlessly, and talk yourself out of taking action, you are voting for a disempowered version of yourself. But when you wake up with purpose, invest in your growth, keep your promises to yourself, that's identity transformation in motion. You don't need to become a different person overnight. You just need to start behaving like someone who respects their potential. Because once your behavior starts to shift, your beliefs will follow. But here's the hard truth. Not everyone will support your new identity. Some people are invested in the old version of you. Friends who bonded with you through complaining, family members who feel threatened by your ambition, colleagues who envy your vision. As you rise, you will feel pressure to shrink, to dim your light, to stay grounded. But never forget, staying grounded should not mean staying small. It means staying rooted in your values while reaching for more. Don't let someone else's limitations become your reality. You are not here to make others comfortable. You are here to lead by example. There will be moments when you feel like an imposter, like you're pretending to be someone you're not. That's normal. Growth always feels like fraud at first, because your subconscious is still catching up, But you're not faking it, you're practicing it. And every time you choose courage over comfort, you're telling your brain, this is who I am now. Eventually that becomes your truth, and what once felt impossible becomes effortless. Building a wealth-oriented identity also means rewriting your emotional script around money. Most people carry guilt, shame, or fear when it comes to finances. They've been taught that wanting more is greedy, that wealth is corrupt, that success makes you arrogant. But those are cultural myths, not universal truths. You must redefine what money means to you. Is it freedom, impact, legacy, opportunity? Choose a definition that empowers you, because money is not good or bad, it's a tool. And how you use it depends entirely on the story you believe about it. Once your identity shifts, the practical steps become easier. You'll no longer need to force discipline, it will be part of who you are. You won't have to motivate yourself daily, you'll act in alignment with your new self-image. Opportunities will seem to appear out of nowhere, but they were always there. You just couldn't see them from your old mindset. Now, you can. This is why two people can go through the same course, the same business strategy, the same investment, but get wildly different results. It's not the tactic, it's the identity behind the tactic. One person shows up with confidence, focus, and belief. The other shows up with doubt, fear, and hesitation. The outcome is already written in their self-image, and you get to choose which version you bring to the game. Don't wait until you have the money to start thinking like someone who's wealthy. Think like them now. Believe like them now. Act like them now. Because the mind leads and the results follow. Identity isn't the result of success, it's the cause of it. And when you shift who you are, you shift what becomes possible. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to be fake. You just have to be intentional. Every time you say, I don't do that anymore, this is who I am now, you reclaim your power. Every time you choose courage over fear, growth over comfort, vision over excuses, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. And soon enough, you won't just be thinking like the wealthy, you'll be living like them. Because the moment you become the person who creates wealth, the wealth shows up not as a fantasy, but as a reflection. The world responds not to who you were, or even who you wish to be, but to who you are now. So step into that identity boldly. Let go of the old version of you that clung to limitations, settled for less, and called it realistic. You were never meant to live small. You were meant to expand. And that expansion begins the moment you say, this is who I am now. There's a voice in your head that no one else can hear, a voice that narrates your life in the quiet moments when no one is watching. That voice is either your greatest builder or your most persistent saboteur, because every thought you think, every image you replay in your mind, is laying down the bricks of your future. It's drawing blueprints for your reality. You are the architect, and your thoughts are the design. But here's the tragedy. Most people are building their future using the same blueprint that built their past. They keep replaying failures, doubts, rejections. They visualize everything they don't want and then wonder why those exact things keep showing up in their life. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's mental repetition. What you hold in your mind with emotion, you invite into your life with action. Thoughts become patterns. Patterns become habits. And habits become destiny. Think of your brain like a GPS system. When you give it a destination, something clear, vivid, and emotionally compelling, it begins to direct your actions toward that place. But if you don't input a clear goal, it loops aimlessly, rerouting you back to the same roads you've always traveled. That's what most people do. They live reactively, drifting from day to day with no vision, no clear picture, no emotional fuel, and that's why nothing changes. Visualization is not wishful thinking, it is focused creation. The world's most elite performers, Olympic athletes, CEOs, visionaries, they all use it. Not because it feels good, but because it works. When you visualize with intention, you rehearse success before it happens. You build neural pathways that trick your brain into believing it's already done the thing. And once your brain believes it, your actions begin to match it. Suddenly, confidence isn't forced, it's familiar. Courage isn't a stretch, it's standard. Because in your mind, you've already lived this moment 1,000 times. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you closed your eyes and saw your dream life? Not just imagined it, but felt it? Felt the texture of it, heard the sounds, breathed in the atmosphere. Most people never do. They visualize problems more than possibilities. They have entire mental movies of what could go wrong but never direct the film where things go right. That ends now. From this moment forward, you become the director of your mental cinema. You stop letting your thoughts wander into fear by default. You take control. You script your future in your mind before it shows up in the world. You picture yourself waking up energized, walking into rooms with power, receiving the exact opportunities you've been chasing. You see your goals as if they're already yours, because the brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. So why not use that power? Here's how you take control. You begin every morning not with anxiety, but with vision. You close your eyes for 5 minutes and see yourself winning. You hear the applause, you feel the reward. You rehearse excellence, not someday, now, and you do it over and over again until your mind starts to believe you are already that version. Because once the mind is convinced, the world starts catching up. And while visualization is the image, your inner dialogue is the script. You can't just see the life, you must speak it into existence. What you say to yourself, about yourself, shapes the person you become. If your inner voice constantly says, "I'm not good enough, I'm behind," or "I can't do this," then even the best strategy in the world won't save you. But when your inner voice says, "I've got this, I'm becoming more focused every day, I am worthy of success," then even in failure, you rise. You don't need outside approval when your inner dialogue is strong. You stop waiting for permission when your mind already gave you the green light. You don't fold under pressure when you've already practiced resilience in your imagination. This is the power of combining visualization with internal language. Together, they train your subconscious to expect victory, not just wish for it, to plan for growth, not just daydream about it, to move like it's your 7 when no one believes yet, because you believe. Now imagine this. Imagine walking into your next challenge and feeling calm, not because it's easy, but because you've been here before. In your mind, 100 times, you've seen the victory, felt the pressure, practiced the execution. So when it happens in real life, it's just another rehearsal. You don't flinch, you rise. That's not arrogance, that's mental conditioning. That's the edge the greats have, and now it's your edge too. But let's be honest, some days, your mind will rebel. It'll bring up every doubt, every failure, every fear. That's okay. You're not here to silence the voice, you're here to train it, to challenge it, to replace the lies with truth. When it says, "I'll never make it," you respond, "Watch me." When it says, "This is too hard," you say, "I've done harder." When it whispers, "What if I fail?" you roar back, "What if I fly?" This is how you take your power back from the inside out. You are not weak, you're just untrained. And training your mind is like building muscle. It takes repetition, discipline, focus. You can't do it once and expect transformation. You have to do it every day, especially when it's hardest, especially when you want to quit, because those are the moments that shape you. Those are the workouts your soul needs. And every time you show up for yourself in those moments, you strengthen the blueprint. You build a stronger design, a more powerful version of you, the wealth you want, the success, the freedom. It doesn't start with a business plan or a bank loan. It starts here, in your mind, with the thoughts you choose, the scenes you visualize, the voice you obey. You are creating your future one thought at a time, one image at a time, one belief at a time. So choose wisely, speak boldly, visualize vividly. Because the mind that is trained to see wealth, to expect greatness, to feel abundance will create it, inevitably. And remember this, you don't need proof to start believing. Belief comes before results, not after. Don't wait for evidence, create it, in your mind. Build it, brick by brick, picture by picture, word by word. The world will catch up, but first you must lead it there. You were born to build, so build wisely, build boldly. Build with the vision of someone who already knows it's only a matter of time. There's a moment in everyone's life where they realize all the mindset shifts, all the breakthroughs, all the visualizations mean nothing until action is taken. You can have the clearest vision, the strongest identity, the most powerful thoughts, but if you don't act on them, you'll stay stuck in the same life with a different dream. Inner work is the foundation, but action? That's the bridge. That's how dreams walk out of your mind and into reality. Most people stop just short of that bridge. They tell themselves, "I'm still working on myself. I'm not ready yet, maybe later." They wait for perfect conditions, perfect timing, perfect confidence. But here's the truth. None of those things will come before action. They come from action. You don't wait to be ready. You act, and readiness rises. You don't wait for clarity. You move, and clarity appears. You don't wait for certainty. You build it, decision by decision. What if everything you wanted was waiting on the other side of one bold, imperfect step? What if the wealth, the freedom, the impact you keep visualizing wasn't a fantasy, but an opportunity screaming for your courage? Not your perfection, not your full plan, just your courage. Because aligned action doesn't mean doing everything. It means doing the right thing, the thing that matches your vision, your values, and your highest identity even when it's uncomfortable. The biggest myth about success is that it happens in giant leaps. It doesn't. It happens in micro decisions, in small moments where you choose to send the email, pitch the idea, post the video, take the course, launch the project, make the call, or simply say yes when fear says no. These aren't just tasks, they're turning points, and the more you make those moves, the more momentum you build. Action is a spiritual multiplier. It turns thoughts into reality, energy into results. So many people are consuming the life they want instead of creating it. They binge motivation, they read the books, they listen to the podcasts, and while those things matter, they're not enough. Transformation is not consumption, it's execution. What did you do with what you learned? What did you build with the wisdom you gathered? Because knowledge without action is like seeds without soil. It never grows into anything real. Every single day is a vote for who you're becoming, a vote for what you believe is possible. You either vote for expansion or for stagnation. You either align your actions with your vision or you align them with your fears. There is no neutral ground. Even doing nothing is a decision. Even procrastination is a choice. So the question becomes, what kind of future are your choices building? Aligned action means saying yes to discomfort in the short term, so you can say yes to abundance in the long term. It means launching the idea before it's perfect, speaking up when you're scared, betting on yourself when no one else does. Not because it's easy, but because you've done the inner work, and now you're ready to move like it. Because action is how you prove to your brain, this is who I am now, not just someone who thinks, someone who builds. Let's make this real. You've done the rewiring, you've developed the identity, you've practiced the vision. Now it's time to turn that energy into movement. Start small, but start now. Send the message, outline the plan, say yes to the thing you've been avoiding. Show up with boldness, even if your voice shakes. Every single time you take action aligned with your vision, you compound your progress. You collapse the gap between who you are and who you want to be. The path won't be linear. You'll make mistakes, you'll fail, you'll doubt. But guess what? So does everyone who ever created something extraordinary. What separates them isn't luck, it's movement. It's refusal to stay still. It's the willingness to keep building even when no one's clapping. Even when the results are small, because they know massive success is just small actions repeated with ruthless consistency. So take the leap. Not because it's guaranteed, but because you're worth betting on. Trust that the same power that guided your inner transformation will meet you in the physical world. That as soon as you act, the doors will begin to open. The right people will find you. The right ideas will flow. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And when you change, your world can't help but follow. This is your moment. Not to wait, not to prepare more, but to move, to break the loop, to stop watching others build their dream while you scroll through yours. To stop calling it someday and start calling it now. You didn't come this far in your growth to play small in your action. You came to rise, to create, to lead, to build a life that feels so aligned, so powerful, that you no longer dream it, you live it. So here's the call to action. No more hesitation, no more overthinking, no more waiting for ready. You are ready the moment you decide to be. Today, take one action on bold step that your old self would have avoided. Do it before you talk yourself out of it. Let it be messy. Let it be imperfect. Just do it. Then do it again tomorrow. And again the next day. Stack the wins. Compound the courage. And watch how quickly your reality starts to rise to meet you. This is where everything changes. where the inner work becomes outer results, where belief becomes movement, where vision becomes wealth, not because the universe handed it to you, but because you built it, step by step. Action by action, aligned, intentional, unstoppable, your future is waiting. Now go build it.